What up, guys? Welcome back to the... Could you back up a little bit? Thank you. So it's once again PBA Regional Day, and we got some brand new bowling balls. Unfortunately, they're not drilled yet because they just arrived today, which is annoying because I feel like this one's going to be really good because we're bowling on the 41-foot bear pattern, and I haven't bowled on that pattern in about 12 years. From what I recall, that pattern is really hard, really flat, and I think this ball would be good probably game 3 or game 4, but it has no holes in it, so we're kind of screwed. But regardless, we're gonna make the old arsenal work, and yeah. So yeah, let's go, I guess. Alright guys, so we just rolled up to Windsor Bowl in Windsor, and I actually really like this town. It feels vintage, but yeah, if you skip the intro in my kitchen, we're bowling the 41-foot bear pattern. Very flat, very hard. My game plan is hyperdrive, game 1, probably game 2 also. From there, phase 2, IQ Ruby. We'll see if it goes that way, but yeah, I wish I had the attention star, but we don't, so we're gonna be doing that. Let's get in there.
Oh yeah, 60 and 90. Yeah, I should be. Next shot will be 80 or
Initial thoughts, this pattern is not easy. I think I was playing too far right to start because I had like this much room to hit the pocket. A little bit left, Brooklyn. A little bit right, washout. So we moved to the phase 2, jumped to like 10 boards left, and I found some more area. Instead of this, I had this. So that's a little bit nicer, but I left so many 10 pins game 2, which is really freaking annoying. So I went to the Ike Ruby for one shot, threw it really freaking good, and it went dead straight, which is not a good sign. So I think this is where the attention star would be really good. It had to be asymmetric, which would turn the corner a little better, but I don't have that. It's not drilled. Awesome. So we're in the hyperdrive, asymmetric. I think it's too strong, but it might be okay. We'll find out. Anyway, game 3.
lazier when it comes to really the history of it. Like in the history of it.
All right, guys, pretty good game 3, 223, I think. We're almost even after the pretty bad start. I still feel like the hyperdrive is not quite the right ball, but it's definitely the best looking ball that I have right now, and we're gonna keep throwing it. And yes, we're outside again. There's too many people inside, and doing an intro around 1,000 people is scary. Anyway, game 4, hyperdrive again, because I don't know what else might work. Alright guys, it's nighttime now. We just finished game 4 and pretty good 230. Obviously a dumb miss bear, but it's part of the game. And let's not do that again. I really hope this hyperdrive look stays the rest of the tournament, because if it goes away, I have no idea what the ball changed to. So we're just gonna keep chasing it left with the hyperdrive and hopefully it keeps striking. Can you even see me? It's really dark out here. Anyway, game 5.
I don't know where my other bags are.
Alright, so it appears that my microphone wasn't receiving any audio during this little monologue, so I have to redo it at home. But I'm really surprised that the hyperdrive is still looking pretty good, because I'm looking around and everyone around me is throwing their weakest bowling ball possible, and I'm throwing a freaking hyperdrive. But it looks decent. I'm still kind of traumatized from when I threw the Ike Ruby and it went completely straight, so I don't really want to try a weaker ball at this point. But the hyperdrive is going through the pins pretty good when I throw it good, so we're going to keep rocking with it. On to game 6.
Showing off, don't wanna have to wait tonight, wait tonight. Better off, I'm gonna find my way tonight, wait tonight. Just talk to me, I wanna heal your sorrow. Just talk to me, we'll make a new tomorrow. Just talk to me.
Alright guys, so I have to address this freaking shot because this was so stupid. Somebody caught my eye like 4 lanes to the right, and I was not looking at my target at all. Like, I was just looking off to the side during my approach. And that gutter was just a result of me being in freaking HD squirrel. So, freaking stupid gutter on a spare, but gotta move on.
Showing off, don't wanna have to wait tonight. Wait tonight. Better off, I'm gonna find my way tonight. Wait tonight. Won't you talk to me? I wanna heal your sorrow. Just talk to me. We'll make a new tomorrow. Won't you talk to me?
Microphone wasn't working again, so when I'm doing these little monologues between games, I have like a minute between games to get a little video out, so I don't have time to check to make sure everything's working properly, but that's just some behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, we had that stupid gutter, a few missed spares, and that game could have been a lot better. At that Stone 8, the flat 10, it was a pretty decent game other than the gutter and the missed spare, but on to game 7, we need a pretty big game to jump into the cut. Alright, so that concludes the PBA Regional at Windsor for me. So obviously, we didn't win, but I'm pretty satisfied with how I bowled. I would say, besides the gutter, the vast majority of my shots are going right where I wanted them to, and that's a pretty good feeling. And I was probably throwing the wrong ball for the back half of the tournament too. I think the hyperdrive was fine, games 1 through 4-ish, but I probably should have been throwing one of those two the last 3 games. Because pretty much everyone that I was watching that was scoring, shooting like 240s, 250s, they were throwing their weakest bowling ball, standing really far left and just wheeling the crap out of it. I was seeing like Turbo X's, Gremlins, Typhoons, all those really shiny bowling balls going down the lane. And I was throwing a freaking hyperdrive. But I didn't have much option because I tried the IQ Ruby for one shot and it looked terrible. Maybe I just tried it too early. I don't know. But besides that, some key takeaways from this weekend. I do need to work on my spare game a little more. I think I need to change how I shoot spares because when those lanes start breaking down and you throw a spare ball with your strike release, you can actually see the spare ball hooking in the fronts because the lanes are so broken down. So I think I need to change my release and throw it more flat. But other than that, I think I need to work on moving further left faster, because since we have such high rev rates in the regional tour, and it's even higher in the national tour, by the way, but obviously the regional tour still has pretty good rev rate, the lanes break down a lot quicker than you would see in a normal league. So I normally move like 3, 4, 5 boards a night in league. I probably need to move like 3, 4, 5 boards a game minimum at these tournaments, and I just need to work on that, getting ahead of the move, because too many shots were going high when I should have been moving ahead of that. But we're learning, we're getting better. This was a good weekend. I felt really good throwing it, and we got another one next weekend, so hopefully we can do better at that one. See ya.